Hello, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube. G3 Iron here, and today we are showing off an incredible feat of perseverance, of genius, of unparalleled bravery in the world that is Path of Exile hardcore solo self-found. You are staring at an image right now of someone that has hit level 100 in hardcore solo self-found synthesis league. All right, we're going to go over his build really quickly. All of our links that we are going to be chatting about today are down below in the video description. And of course, if you like this sort of discussion and this sort of video, you can like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ding the bell to be notified about more videos just like this one. So here is the character. Here's live proof on PoE Ninja, taking a look at the solo self-found hardcore synthesis ladder. And here is our man right here with 6,335 life, 311 energy shield. He's gone all the way down to depth 204, and he is in fact level 100 on a Berserker. So I don't know of a more brilliant and intriguing tagline and intro than that, but let's jump right in. This was pointed out by user Danny OCP, who said, this guy's an absolute mad lad. He hit level 100 on a Smite Berserker, and this is the Human Tornado, the man himself, who hit level 100. He's got a build guide that we're going to take a look at, but here was his short synopsis of what it took for him to get to level 100 in Synthesis. Playing Berserker, which, by the way, like less than 1% of the entire league in hardcore and softcore are playing this, let alone in hardcore solo self-found. So here's what he's got to say. Yeah, it was a lot of grind, but it had to be done. Thanks to all of the people cheering me up. Got a lot of whispers and friend invites. Got invited to Terrance's Twitch chat, which was an amazing experience. The build is not fast, not even half as fast as good Winter Orb and Bane builds, but fast enough for a stable 8 to 10 million XP per hour at level 99 in Toxic Sewers and Waste Pool, and to not end up in a mental hospital in the 100 grind. And it's tanky AF due to the huge effective HP and solid physical chaos mitigation. A little of RNG defenses, block, dodge, and blind, and of course the superior effective health pool sustained with Warbringer healing and an abundance of life mana leech. I got into real problems and slowed down a lot when I ran out of Toxic Sewers maps at level 99, because that layout is the best to farm with the limited range of this melee build. Map drops were so bad this league. Being a big boy defensive-wise was going a long way in this league because it was rippy as hell due to betrayal and incursion content, roasting everything without basic chaos and fizz mitigation, making huge effective health pools a good defensive choice. Many top streamers died like flies, leaving a vacuum for players like me to get a good ladder rank. I really love how the race turned out. So let's jump on over to the Human Tornadoes build guide, and here it is right here on the forums, the Clear Berserker Smite Solo Self-Found Hardcore Viable build. So here's his opening monologue, and then I will leave it the rest to you. He does not have any video guides. I did check out a couple of folks have asked for video guides of this particular build, and he doesn't, simply because the Human Tornadoes machine, his gaming machine, just doesn't support the sort of video capture that would be necessary to provide high quality video content. So if you're wondering, hey, why aren't there video guides of this, of him displaying this, that's why. He does show off a Path of Building paste bin if you'd like to simply import it and play around with it, and he's got a very well written guide right here. So let's jump right into his monologue. Got a dozen whispers and friend invites asking me about how I set up my Berserkers in order to stand the test of hardcore solo self-leveling, so I decided to write this guide about it. I am ranked 10 in solo self-found Synthesis Hardcore with my character cuddling with hyenas. Synthesis is an extremely deadly league, not because of the new content, but because of the Betrayal League content that cannot be dodged anymore. There are new challenges for builds that a player must face if he wants to survive. Previously at 3.4 Delve League, it was enough just to go ham on all kinds of elemental mitigation, but that does not work anymore because the betrayal and incursion content requires proper physical and chaos damage defenses in order to be done deathless. Going to keep updating this whenever I feel like it. I know that the build is not interesting for the most players due to the fact that not many players play Berserker or hardcore solo self-found. Right now, spells are the meta, attacks are inferior. So if you really want to play the game on easy mode, then better check out Bane, Winter Orb, or Arc Guide for Occultist, Elementalist, or Trickster. So, why is it that Berserker is so good for melee builds and solo self-found? Well, Berserker is said to be the worst ascendancy class in the moment. That's BS, of course. Raider and Slayer are the worst, obviously. Berserker is good in hardcore due to his ability to sustain and regain huge amounts of effective hit points, EHP, in Mind over Matter, MOM, builds due to Warbringer effect and the abundance of life and mana leech it gives. There is no other ascendancy class that has such an easy time to build and gear up a huge effective HP pool using Mind over Matter and maintaining it. The reason for this, since the stat stick nerf in 3.5, a lot of melee attack builds need critical strike in order to deal enough endgame damage for clearing red maps or whatever. Crit needs gear, and gear is what people don't have and probably don't ever get in solo self-found ever. Berserker offers a solution here for a lot of melee builds by dealing good enough damage due to hits, due to his 40% more damage multiplier from Aspect of Carnage, just with Resolute Technique or Elemental Overload. These builds are a lot easier to gear because they don't need tons of crit multiplier and crit chance. They don't need any of this stuff, actually. If you don't need crit mods on your jewelry, helmet, gloves, or whatever, then you can care just about having as much life, mana, and resistances on them as possible. That means having 10k effective health instead of 7k, like the typical crit life build, and even if you take increased damage and have a degen, you're going to end up surviving a lot more stuff than they do. 10 over 7 as the ratio is literally 42% more hit points, and now combine that with the best MOM sustained in the game, 50% effective HP healed in 1.8 seconds just by Warbringer, and another 20 times 1.8, which equals 36% effective HP from having both life and mana leech cap regen against a single target. Crit builds also often force a player to do stupid pathing on the skill tree in order to get enough crit chance, which ends up with the player being starved for life nodes, or not being able to go on OP defensive nodes like Mind over Mana and or Dodge, lacking attack speed or other stuff that is making a build rippy or feel slow and dizzy. Everyone who is saying that Berserker Ascendancy has no defenses is wrong. Warbringer Instant Life Mana Heal is the best mechanism to sustain huge amounts of EHP in MOM build in the game. It goes as far as you not even needing a life flask as a Berserker player. So yeah, say thank you to Berserker to #1 free flask slot. So let's put the pieces together. Berserker has the ability to sustain endless amounts of effective HP if scaled with MOM thanks to Warbringer, while needing barely any skill tree investment for dealing good enough damage. That means he has a lot of skill points left to skill life and mana nodes and mass in the current version, where chaos and physical damage roast players on a daily basis. A huge EHP pool is a very effective defensive concept against that. All right, so I'm not going to read the whole rest of this guide. I am going to jump down right here to the stats, the pros and the cons of the character. These stats are bonkers. Remember, he is playing a Berserker. Berserkers get stomped on a daily basis on the forums, on Reddit, on Twitch, on YouTube. Doesn't matter where they are. I do it, you do it, let's all be honest. We all stomp on Berserker and look at it and go, that's a terrible ascendancy. And here's a guy who made it to level 100 in a hardcore league, solo self-found without the ability to trade and flip for awesome items. This is a testament of character, perseverance, and bravery, and just build crafting genius. This guy's brilliant. So here's some of his numbers to show this off. He's got 10,300 effective HP, so because he's an MOM build, he's using both his health pool as well as his energy shield pool as well as his mana pool. He gets easy endurance charge generation thanks to Enduring Cry spam and long Immortal Call extended duration. Basic to good physical mitigation thanks to Lunaris Pantheon, Granite Basalt Flask, and 15k armor buffed. 4% physical mitigation from Soul of Steel and high effective HP, which is also a good way to deal with high amounts of physical damage. He's got 200 to 600k-ish DPS fully buffed. Hard to say with the overlapping damage or less damage due to not being the main attack. but just the AoE. Blind, a little dodge, some block, solid RNG defenses, and AFK defenses against game crashes with Vengeance, Reckoning, and Cloaked in Savagery, which is an awesome single one massive hit, survival mechanism, which is that when you get hit with a savage hit, you have all of these other effects that are going to go off for you, which is, of course, awesome. It's going to trigger your Immortal Call, unless, of course, you're self-casting it, but that's another discussion for another day. So that's some of his stats. Here's the pros to the build. It's cheap. It just needs a tabula and 2 attacks per second weapon until red maps. Gear can completely be crafted with delve fossils. Does not require a special 6-link chest. Any 6-link chest that is craftable will do. It is also flexible towards gem colors. It's very fast thanks to utilizing the fastest weapon type in the game and a lot of the increased attack speed from the skill tree, gear, and Berserker. You're going to move very fast, which also makes you safer due to faster getting out of stuff like bears or just any sort of AoE dot that's going to go down on the ground. Because you're moving quickly, you're going to be able to avoid stuff like that. It doesn't need or should have damage or life flasks. 5 utility flasks against all ailments and curses, plus an improved flask duration and recovery from the skill tree. Everyone will love that one. It's safe even against the new betrayal and incursion content. A huge EHP pool and reliable sustain is the key to meet old and new challenges. Lots of builds can't do that. That's why Synthesis League was a huge massacre for a lot of players in hardcore and hardcore solo self-found, but this build can do it. It's also, of course, ethical. Of course. I mean, you're playing Berserker in a hardcore, man. Like, of course it's ethical. This is amazing. The cons to the build. He's honest about it. It needs a lots of reskilling during the leveling and gear progression, but it's manageable even in SSF. And it's melee, therefore it's weak, outdated, undertuned, and it's got minimum random feedback on the forum because, of course, hey, 3.7 is coming, so of course this is going to be popular, and I'm sure it's going to show, again, in his comments and on his build guide, as well as even on videos like this one. People are just going to take a dump on it because it's melee and it's not 3.7. But the reality is this guy did it. I mean, this is incredible that he did it. Other drawbacks are that Abyss Jewels might be nerfed hard in 3.7, and then we might have a damage problem, and it's bad for deep delving due to inconsistent corpse explosions. All right, so that's all we're going to cover on this. His build is actually linked down below if you would like to read some more about the build. This is just, again, hats off to the Human Tornado. It's incredible that you did this, man. Congratulations on this accomplishment, and I look forward to trying your build out. Yeah, I'm totally going to go try this out in Standard where I've got a Berserker sitting, and I might even build this guy in Hardcore since I'm playing Hardcore Synthesis this league, just to see what it's like, because having a 10k effective health pool that gives you massive regen and massive resistance against single shots. I mean, you described it so well, Human Tornado, in your build guide, that's really what a lot of the scary aspects of playing hardcore is right now, is intervention and betrayal mechanics coming to hit you, as well as incursions. I've got a Righteous Fire Marauder that I'm not even going into incursions into temples, and I've got something like 50 or 60% chaos resistance, and I just don't want to go in there because that stuff is really rippy, as are incursions from betrayal content. So anyway, hope you enjoyed the video, hope you enjoyed this guide, and hope you go and just give this guy a pat on the back. Like, let's give this guy as much love as we can, because these are the sorts of wacky, awesome, off-the-wall theory crafting combinations that are possible and that frankly deserve praise from us as a community, because people are out there figuring this stuff out, so that way we can all go play it and enjoy it as well. So well done by you, Human Tornado, and here's praying that Abyss Jewels and everything that is good about melee doesn't get nerfed in 3.7. Oh gosh, Cyclone's probably getting nerfed in 3.7, isn't it? Anyway, I hope today is the day a Mirror of Calandra drops for you when you decide to go and build the Human Tornado's awesome Marauder Berserker Smite hardcore viable character.
Nice patrons, yes, good patrons. They're so kind and supportive.
I can't believe you watched that thing. That was good job. You did it. You got through the whole video. Yay.